Yo YouTube, what's going on? AJ here, back at it again with another video, and in today's video we're going to be going over the final 1.2 tier list. Yes, there are some major changes in here, guys. Now we're going to do something a little bit different now. As if you guys are familiar with my tier list, you guys mostly like them always. You guys think I'm fair with them, and I appreciate the support, so thank you guys for always telling me my tier lists are good. Also, if you like the content on the channel, make sure you hit a like, comment, and subscribe, as it does keep the lights on over here for this channel, and it helps me become the top weathering creator. I want to be the best weathering creator in the space, guys. Make you guys the best content possible. So thank you guys for supporting me, and we're almost at 4K. Without further ado, let's get into the video. So one rule I want to make real quick, guys, so that way this tier list video isn't long or too long for you guys, and that way everybody kind of understands where I'm ranking characters, is if the character has not changed previously from my last tier list, right, I'm just going to quickly place them and put them in that same spot and say where they're at and visually place them there. If there is change, we're going to stop for a second, talk about it, and why I think a certain character changed and where I've moved them. So like I said, let's start off with Spectral Rover. So Spectral Rover, last time I had them in A tier, solid unit, boom, we're done with that character. Havoc Rover, where am I going to rank Havoc Rover? Now Havoc Rover is still in the same spot, right? It's still an S tier. However, one thing I want to talk about with Havoc Rover is, depending on when Kuro decides to announce the next 3 resonance chains, right, Havoc Rover could potentially go from here to here. So I'm saying, guys, keep a lookout on Havoc Rover, because Havoc Rover is an amazing unit, very versatile, very busted character. Xiangliyao, like last time, she hasn't moved anywhere. She's staying in A tier. The Xiangli release, obviously, you know, Xiangli, one of her few teammates that she can utilize and use really well. Sanhua, still going to be an S tier for now. Yanwu, low-key, guys, I'm going to move Yanwu to high A tier now. Now the reason why is I have a buddy Plura, and to the few Yanwu aka Discord mod mains, you know what I mean, out there, I know you guys really rave about this character and how busted he is, and I've seen it now firsthand, more so in depth in action too, from not just my buddy Plura, but from other people as well. And yeah, he's very great unit, and especially it's like if you don't have someone like Zhezhi, where is she? Zhezhi over here, or Zhezhi, however you like to call it, you know me, Zhezhi. Zhezhi's very busted and building up Jinxi's bar, but Yanwu does it ridiculously well too, so he's another great option to use with Jinxi. Now, as far as Yang, she's gonna be an A tier. I'm gonna put her on the lower end of A tier. Great CC, great energy. If you need that, you can utilize her on your team. Baiji, same thing, doesn't really go anywhere, putting her on the lower end of A tier. Mortefi, we're gonna talk about him for a second. Mortefi kind of like fills a niche that I'm starting to understand. Honestly, I'd rank Mortefi over Sanhua. Mortefi, yeah, the heavy attack, man, for hit Jian, for Jianshin, especially if you're in Jianshin and you want to make her a main DPS, you want to run Mortefi and a Verena or any sort of sustain that's going to come out. Obviously, if you don't have the standard 5-star gauntlet, you have Xiangliyao's gauntlet coming up, which is going to be amazing for Jianshin too. So him being the one that covers that niche right now for the heavy attacks too, and how good he is, he warrants that S tier spot. Next up, let's talk about Alto. Now we start getting into the changes and the discussions, guys. Alto last time I said was B tier, right? I'm going to say though, I think Alto is he lives to fight another day, guys. I will say this, Alto's not best in slot in anything. He's really not best in any real team comp, you know what I mean? He is a very cool unit, has some of the most amazing animations. I just kind of wish Kuro Games really did make this 4-star way better. Like, I kind of wish it was like a S tier unit, because man, I feel like they missed out on character designs. But honestly, I'm gonna leave him in B for now. I just don't think he's best in slot anywhere else, but I have seen, you know, people who are Alto mains or stuff like that utilize him in Gian, or just play with him, do some cool stuff in general. However, the first big change though, Taochi last time was in B, she's moving down to C tier. The reason being is because while Taochi does give a huge amount of resonance skill buffs, again, I don't know how many people do have Taochi at like a R5, R6 for her max potential. I know light spenders by now probably do have her because you guys keep rolling. I'm not sure where free to play is at. If anybody's free to play, and let me know what banners you guys have rolled on. Let me know if you have Tao Chi at R6. I do know she gives a huge resonance skill buff, which can benefit characters like Zhezhi, Xiangli, or any future burst DPS. However, the fact that her playstyle is clunky, the fact that you do need that R5, R6 to get her at her max potential, and the fact that the direct power creep and an all-around better unit, Zhezhi, came out, who gives resonance skill buffs and energy, and she does a lot of damage, including off-field damage. Tao Chi finally moves down to C tier on the list, and she's probably going to be our only C tier unit, guys, for the whole video. Next up is Dan Jin. Now, Dan Jin, I keep talking about this one, and I keep debating to myself, is Dan Jin back in high S, or is Dan Jin in lower S? In my opinion, I think I'm going to put Dan Jin still in S tier, just in lower S. Like I said, guys, I think that, you know, MC, Havoc MC, you guys should build it up. Amazing DPS unit. Dan Jin is definitely high risk, high reward playstyle, but I also know there's a little bit of a divide on her too, where it's like, oh, people don't like the risky playstyle as much. Some people do. So for those who can take advantage of it, you probably think Dan Jin is here, and that's perfectly fine if you guys think that too. However, I think I'm going to put Dan Jin lower just because Havoc MC, amazing DPS, safer option, you know what I mean, to play. And I know a lot of people like the ease of use. That's one of the biggest arguments for Xian. Very easy to use, very fun to play with, especially because some people also play on mobile. So I don't think you want to go into hollow bosses or anything crazy using, you know, something that you can get hit by, especially because I can't imagine how it is playing on mobile. Next up, we have Verena. Now, Verena, this should be no surprise, guys. As of right now, OP tier. The sustain, that what she does as a sustain, 1 of 1, shouldn't be any different. Let's move on to the next character. Encore, man, bro. Encore, I'm gonna just say she hasn't really changed much, guys, but she is top of S tier. It's so crazy looking back at it, because we all knew Encore was strong, but sometimes you see all these montages or videos, or even Sweetely's one of the people, if you guys watch her, who knew practically everything with Encore too. Super amazing unit, super busted. You can play her with Xiangli too. You can play her without Xiangli and destroy everything. Very fun, easy unit. A great time. I definitely recommend building her if you guys have her and you don't have Xiangli either and you need a fusion DPS. Next up, our boy Sephiroth, Calcharo, the man, the myth, the legend of power creep. The funny story about Calcharo most people don't understand is 5 days before Kuro released their game, this man was actually stronger than Xian at one point. Not in the game, guys, I'm talking about in the CBT, and he was too cracked. A lot of people talked about how amazing he was. Then Kuro decided to do a hot fix, or I think it's called a hot fix, or like just a quick update before the game even released. The last 5 days they were working on buffs and nerfs for a lot of the characters, and they ended up, well, that's not what you guys were supposed to see. And they ended up making Calcharo just not great, guys. Unfortunately, the thing with the Calcharo is this, right, guys? And I want to talk to you guys about you Cal mains out there. If you have basically an R0 Calcharo, right, with his weapon, I think he's low A tier, guys, and it's not good. It's not, and we're gonna talk about this boy and where he ranks in a second, because he's the one who's featured Mr. Xiangliyao, Mr. Genos, Iron Man, super TikToker over here. But I think the thing with Calcharo is if you have 0 resonance chains, like I said, he's just low A. If you have multiple resonance chains, like R2, R4, R3, you know what I mean? Like, I believe especially R4, because I go back to my buddy Plura, he somehow managed to get R4 Calcharo. Then Calcharo would go from there to like here. But again, guys, we're not like where I'm ranking the 4 stars is I'm putting the 4 stars like at R6, their potential, and I'm putting the 5 stars at R0. Basically, what's realistic and what you guys can achieve over time. So as of right now, if you're talking R0 Cal, it's just gonna be low A. But moving on to Jan Shin, our Kung Fu Panda, Baby Girl. Where does Baby Girl rank over here, Miss Kung Fu Panda? still have her kicking in S tier. Reasons being is because we'll talk about Xiangli Yao and what she does for him. We also got to talk about that she has CC capabilities. She has a built-in parry, a shield. She really can take that sustain spot. Like, she's not going to do what Verena does in healing, but it's kind of like a third offensive option. She does give heavy resonance liberation buffs, which is going to be good for any character that uses resonance liberation. You know what I mean? And there's going to be multiple characters that come out in the future, guys. It feels like, we don't know officially or anything like that, but it feels like Kuro's kind of deciding to go down 3 paths. If you kind of notice it based on the information we have, you have your like 100 miles per hour, your Calcharos, your Xiangliyaos, or I know Jian's a little bit of a different exception because the heavy attack, but yeah, basically anybody that uses res lib in the future, she's another solid sub DPS option, especially if you don't have Yinlin, and she offers different things than Yinlin does. Moving on to Lin Yang. Now, I talked about how Lin Yang would get the most amount of indirect buffs with, you know, if you didn't have that standard gauntlet, you can grab Zhangliao's gauntlet, and that's going to work for him amazing, plus give that crit stat that you would need for Lin Yang. Then on top of that, you have Zhezhi, who buffs Glacio DPSs, buffs skill damage, okay, and is giving energy back. So Lin Yang, the homie, the boy. Now, one thing I'm gonna do, guys, I'm gonna play it safe with Lin Yang. I'm going to keep Lin Yang in high A. However, I will say this, for those Lin Yang mains out there, right, guys, if you are really good with him and you get used to him, right, and you start playing with them, I've seen 10-10, I've seen multiple people clear the middle floor with this man and do some work. So realistically, there's an argument to be made, and I'm not mad about it if some people want to argue. If Lin Yang, if you don't want to say high A and you want to move him here, like, there's potential to move him here. But I do understand how people feel about him. Most people lose their 50-50 to him when they really don't want him. I feel like what's funny is he's the opposite of Genshin. If you come from Genshin or Star Rail, like Star Rail has Bailu, nobody wants to get a Bailu. Genshin has Chi-Chi. A lot of people in this game have this, but what's funny is it feels like Cal should be this version's Chi-Chi, because he is the worst standard 5-star now. But this dude, like I said, man, if people weren't getting him the most and they lose their 50-50s, I think they would give him a chance and then realize how strong he is. But Lin Yang mains, you guys are eating. If you guys want to put him low S, I agree with you. But for the safe route, because most people don't utilize him fully, and you're going to take a little bit of time to adjust to his kit, I think he's solid high A. Okay, moving on to Jian, the general. Now, I've talked about Jian a little bit still, but I don't think there needs to be any more kind of like introduction. I did think about putting Jian in high S, but what Jian offers is 1 of 1, and until we get another DPS that can offer that, Jian just goes straight into the OP tier. Very monster unit. AoE abilities are amazing, especially if Kuro ever decides to release like multiple waves of enemies, like endgame content like that, where it's kind of like gonna thrive off CC units, you know what I mean, grouping and all that stuff, then this guy's just the complete monster package when it comes to that. Easy parries, high damage, just ease of use. Like, when you talk about how easy it is to play a character, he's up there. He puts in OP. What are we gonna do with Yinlin? Yinlin, I think Yinlin also deserves OP tier spot. Really think Yinlin's still solid. Resonance liberation, electro, covers that element, very versatile, off-field damage, just super great unit. She hasn't really changed anywhere, guys, and like I told you guys before, like, she covers the same thing as Jian Xin. Like, you know, the resonance liberation, there's gonna be resonance liberation units, there's gonna be skill units that do burst, and there's gonna be, who knows, potentially what else Kuro is deciding to do in the future, like more hybrid units like Xiangli, who are like burst, or they could be like Jian, but they may say, hey, when you switch out, they get X buffs and this buff. So, you know, that's where I think Kuro's classified these DPSs going forward. I think they have, like I said, your 100 miles per hour units, your burst units, and your hybrid units, you know what I mean? So, yeah, Yinlin, just the fact that she covers one section of that, easy OP tier. Next is Zhezhi. I don't think, without a doubt, Zhezhi's the best DPS in the game by far. A lot of people, you know, I don't even think any of us who are like, my favorite is Xiangli, but I think everybody can universally agree that Zhezhi is just broken beyond belief. She has kind of like her full team out now that completes her too, and she's low-key just, her team comp is kind of pushing away all the other people's team comps in terms of all around team damage, right, and potential right now. I do think, if you guys haven't seen my last video about like the buffs and nerfs and power creep, I don't think there's power creep exactly in this game. But if you guys want to know who I'm talking about is going to get a buff, who I think is going to get a nerf, and why, please do check out that last video. Power creep is not real. But now we move on to Xiangli. Where do I have baby girl Xiangli? Now, Xiangli is in a little bit of a weird situation right now, where I think Xiangli, I do think she is behind, like she's tied with Jian, in my opinion. She's either behind or tied with Jian. I think the thing is, for me, and I've used Xiangli, I like Xiangli more than Jian. Just because I gotten used to her playstyle. Like, I think when you get really used to her, guys, I think this is just a preference between these two. Like, these two are very interchangeable. They can go either way. So if you guys like a character that's more engaging, a little bit more harder to play, right, and just gonna test out your skills to get the max amount of potential out and max amount of damage, you want to go with Xiangli. If you guys want something more easier, that way you can focus on the fight, kind of like a Souls-like more, but you know, like I said, he's very busted, very flashy dragon animation, simple, then you want to go with Jian. We're gonna talk about Xiangliyao in a second and what I think about him, but now let's talk about Zhezhi. Do I think Zhezhi, how great is he? How busted is she? Did she live up to her expectation? Yes, and I'm going to rank Zhezhi over Yinlin for a second. Now, here's my condition as to why right now. I've used Zhezhi in her signature weapon. It's at 80. She's at 80. The weapon's at 80. So much off-field damage. She does good damage even when she's on the field, right? The fact that she has a flying mechanic too. Some of the hollow bosses, guys, you can get above air and at certain times just cheese them in the sky, bro. You can be above sky just attacking. As long as you dodge once, you know, you do your rotation right, you can get her on and off the field. If you want to use an energy regen, you can ult multiple times. If you want to get her max amount of damage out, you don't need energy regen, and you can use the glacial set obviously and just go ham with her. So yeah, guys, I do think Zhezhi, in my honest opinion, because she buffs Xiangli, because she buffs Jinxi, she's taken 2 out of the top 3 DPSs, increasing their potential, as well as, you know, giving energy back, also buffing Lin Yang on top of that, and doing a lot of damage herself. I think right now she covers more of the board than Miss Yinlin does. At least right now, there's not a resonance liberation unit that I think is like 1 or 2. Now, with that being said, did I reveal Xiangliyao? No. Let's talk about Xiangliyao real quick, and now we're going to get in depth with him for a second. So Xiangliyao, real quickly, where do I rank him? Is he meta? Did Kuro give us a free unit? And is this an Aloy situation? Is he here? No. Oh, but so he's good, right? Surely. So is he here? No. I genuinely think Xiangliyao is here. Now, I want to explain this for a second, or more so, let me explain it. I think he is behind Xiangli for now. And I want to explain this. This is very important for people to understand right now. There's an argument that's probably going to be made when Xiangliyao does release, right? Because if you have a well-invested Yinlin, and because he is the upgrade over Calcharo in every way, has that same when you transform an ult, goes that 100 miles per hour, destroy stuff, but he has a mechanic in the game that I really want to test out and play with even more against all the bosses, the slowdown mechanic. If you guys played the story mission and use Xiangliyao, one of the things that was very interesting is how he can slow down an enemy and get a lot of damage off. I think that can be cheesy, especially if, you know, it's triggered at the right time. You can avoid the enemy or do stuff. I just want to get more testing on that because that ability can be crazy. The other argument I will say, though, Xiangli really does not have her best teammate. If you look at Xiangli's, like I talked about, her buff, the Resonance Liberation and Fusion buff, that looks like it's directed towards a certain future potential character that maybe Kuro is planning on releasing. So I don't think Xiangli has her team comp. That being said, I think Xiangliyao could potentially pass Xiangli if you have a very good invested Yinlin and you invest in him. I think he can pass Xiangli because he has the team comp, he has the damage, but the one argument is going to be the same Jian argument that people are going to use. Ease of use. He's very easy to use, very brain dead to use, and that's fine, guys. People like fun busted characters that are easy to use, that they can go ham with, you know what I mean? And some people are gonna like Xiangli. So I do think he has potential right now when we get more in-depth testing to be right here. However, for the safe route for now, I think we'll call him and Xiangli a tie, and I'll put her behind, and I'll put him right now behind Xiangli at least. I do think he'll be a very OP unit. I don't think these units are gonna fall off. Now, granted, guys, when we start getting into 1, 3, 1, 4, and depending on who Kuro releases, I want you guys to look at the OP tier for a second. Some of these units will be changing. You know what I mean? Some of these units will start dropping right here, depending on. And one of the characters we got to talk about, not now, we can't officially talk about it right now, is this character right here, Miss Shorekeeper herself, and Youhu. These two characters, when we can talk about them officially, will be wrecking shop. But that's it for this video, guys. What do you guys think of the video? Please tell me, do you guys agree? Do you guys disagree? Where would you have ranked certain characters? What changes would you guys have made? Are you guys excited for Shorekeeper and Youhu, and how good do you guys think they're going to be? That's it for this video, guys. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It's been your boy AJ, late night video. I love y'all. I'll talk to y'all next time. Peace.